The Great Hall of Orbital Station Nexus 7 was filled with hundreds of alien species. They came from every corner of the galaxy. Some had blue skin, some had scales, others had 4 arms or eyes that glowed in the dark. They all gathered here because this station was neutral ground. No wars were allowed here, no fights, only talk and trade. But today there would be a challenge. Ho stood near the back of the crowd. He was a human man of 32 years. He was not very tall. His black hair was cut short in military style. His face was calm, showing no emotion. He wore the gray uniform of Earth's United Defense Corps. 3 years ago, he had been a captain. He had fought in battles on moons and asteroids. He had seen friends die. He had killed enemies to survive. Now he served as a military advisor on the station. Next to him stood Park Jin. She was his tactical officer and his closest friend. She was a small woman with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Her job was to study enemies and find their weak points. She was very good at her job. "This is bad," Jin whispered to Ho. "Very bad." Ho said nothing, he just watched. At the front of the hall, a massive female alien stood on the speaking platform. Her name was. She was from the Empire, one of the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. They looked almost human, but they were not, stood 8 feet tall. Her skin was silver gray, smooth like metal. Her eyes were deep purple with no white parts. Her arms were thick with muscle. Her hands could crush stone. She was the champion of the Arena of Worlds. She had fought 200 battles there. She had won all of them. Many of her opponents had died. Now she pointed at the human section of the crowd. Her purple eyes were full of scorn. "Humans," she said, her voice was deep and loud. "You have been part of the Galactic Coalition for only 15 years. You are children, Bobbies. Your planet is small. Your bodies are weak. Your technology is primitive." The humans in the crowd stayed silent. They were used to this. Many alien species looked down on them. Continued. "The Empire does not believe humans deserve a place in the Coalition. You are too weak, too fragile, you break too easily." She smiled, showing teeth that were slightly pointed. "So I make this challenge. Send your best warrior to face me in the Arena of Worlds. One fight. No weapons that shoot, only hand-to-hand combat. If your warrior wins, we will respect humanity. If your warrior loses," she laughed, "then everyone will know the truth. Humans are nothing." The crowd began to talk loudly. Some aliens laughed. Others looked at the humans with pity. The human diplomats looked worried and afraid. Commander stood behind. He was a military leader. He had planned this whole thing. He wanted to embarrass humanity in front of the whole galaxy. If humans looked weak, other species would not trade with them or help them. Earth would be alone. Jin grabbed Ho's arm. "Don't even think about it," she said. "Someone has to answer," Ho said quietly. "Not you. Let the diplomats handle this. They can refuse. They can say we don't believe in such primitive displays." Ho watched the human diplomats. They were arguing with each other. Some wanted to refuse the challenge. Others said refusing would make humans look like cowards. They could not agree. Laughed again. "Look at them, they cannot even decide. This is why humans are weak. You think too much, you talk too much, you have no courage." Something moved in Ho's chest. Not anger, something colder, something harder. He had spent his whole life being underestimated. He was not the biggest soldier. He was not the strongest. But he had survived battles that killed bigger and stronger men. He had survived because he was smart, because he never gave up, because he learned from every fight. He stepped forward. "Oh no," Jin hissed. But he kept walking. The crowd parted for him. Aliens of all kinds stared at this small human walking toward the giant champion. He stopped in front of the platform and looked up at. "I accept your challenge," he said. His voice was calm and clear. The hall went silent, then burst out laughing. It was a loud, harsh sound. "This," she said, looking down at him, "this small creature is your champion." She looked at the other humans. "Is this a joke? Did you send me a child?" Ho did not react. His face stayed calm. Commander stepped forward, smiling. Do your leaders approve this? We need official acceptance. The human diplomats looked at each other. One of them, an older woman, stepped forward slowly. If Captain wishes to represent humanity, we will not stop him. Excellent, said. The match will be in 3 days, Arena of Worlds, combat until surrender or death. He looked at Ho with cruel amusement. Try not to die too quickly, human. We want a good show. Jumped down from the platform. She landed in front of Ho with a heavy thud that shook the floor. Standing this close, she was almost twice his height. She leaned down until her face was near his. I have killed 200 warriors, she whispered. Warriors much bigger and stronger than you. I will try to make your death quick. Consider it mercy. Ho looked into her purple eyes. He showed no fear. Thank you for the offer, he said, but I will not need your mercy. For just a moment something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, confusion. It disappeared quickly. She laughed again and walked away. Jin rushed to Ho's side. Are you crazy? She will kill you, are twice as strong as humans. Their bones are like steel. They can see heat signatures. You cannot beat her in a straight fight. Then I will not fight straight, Ho said. They went back to the human section of the station. Ho asked Jin to find him every recording of fights, all 200 of them. For the next 3 days he did not sleep much. He watched the recordings again and again. He studied how moved, how she attacked, how she defended. He noticed things. She was strong, very strong, but she was also arrogant. She never defended carefully because no one had ever hurt her. She relied completely on her strength. She had never faced an enemy she could not overpower. A human medic on the station helped him understand biology. She showed him where their nerves were, where their joints were weakest, where a precise strike could cause real pain. This is still suicide, said. One good hit from her and your bones will break. Then I will not let her hit me, Ho said. On the night before the fight, Jin came to his room. Why are you doing this? She asked. Really, tell me the truth. Ho was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, because someone has to show them we are not weak, we are not primitives, we have survived ice ages and plagues and wars. We have walked on our moon and flown to other stars. We did all of that with bodies they call weak. He looked at her. I am tired of being looked down on. I am tired of humanity being laughed at. Tomorrow I will show them what a human can do. Jin had no answer. She just nodded and left him alone. Ho sat in the dark thinking about tomorrow. He was not afraid to die, but he did not plan to die. He planned to win. He planned to make the galaxy remember this fight forever. The Arena of Worlds was the largest fighting arena in the galaxy. It floated in space, a massive metal sphere that could hold 100,000 spectators. Inside, the arena floor could change into different environments: mountains, deserts, oceans, forests. The floor could shift during a fight, making each battle unpredictable. Today, every seat was filled. Species from across the galaxy had come to watch. They came to see the undefeated champion crush another opponent. They came to see a human die. It would be entertaining, they thought. Humans were so small and fragile. The fight would probably last only minutes. The human section was small. Only a few thousand humans lived and worked in this part of space. They sat together looking nervous. Park Jin was among them, her hands tight on her knees. Sat beside her, a medical kit ready just in case. They both knew that if things went wrong, no medical kit would save Ho. The arena floor was currently set to Zone 1. It was a rocky terrain with gray stones and hard ground, normal gravity, a simple starting environment. A loud voice echoed through the arena. It was the announcer, a four-armed alien with blue skin. Welcome to the Arena of Worlds. Today we witness a special match, a challenge between species. In the Eastern Gate, the pride of the Empire, undefeated in 200 battles, the Silver Death herself, VEYRA. The Eastern Gate opened, walked out slowly, her arms raised. The crowd roared. She wore tight fighting armor that showed her muscular body. Her silver skin gleamed under the bright lights. She smiled at the crowd, enjoying their love. She walked to the center of the arena and waited. And in the western gate, the announcer continued, representing humanity, a species from a small planet called Earth, former captain of the United Defense Corps. Ho. The western gate opened. Ho walked out. The crowd went quiet, then some started laughing, others made sounds of confusion. He looked so small, so ordinary. He wore simple black fighting clothes, no armor, no decoration. His face showed nothing. He walked to the center of the arena with steady steps, not fast, not slow. He stopped 10 meters from. The champion looked down at him. She was almost a full meter taller. Her body was at least 3 times heavier, all of it muscle and dense bone. "I almost feel bad," said loudly so the crowd could hear. "This is not a fair fight, but you chose this little human. Remember that." Ho said nothing. Frowned slightly. Most opponents talked before a fight. They made threats or tried to sound brave. This human just stood there looking at her with calm eyes. It was strange. "Do you have nothing to say?" she asked. "No last words, no brave speech." Ho shook his head slowly. Up in the stands, Commander leaned forward in his special seat. He had expected the human to be afraid, to shake, to beg maybe, but this one showed nothing. It was annoying. "Begin the match," commanded. A loud horn sounded through the arena. The fight had begun. Did not wait. She launched forward with incredible speed. For someone so large, she moved like lightning. Her right fist came toward Ho's head. That single punch could break stone. It could crush a human skull like an egg. The crowd held their breath. But Ho was not there. At the last moment, he stepped to the side. Not a big movement, just enough. His fist passed through empty air and smashed into the arena wall behind where he had been standing. The wall cracked. Pieces of rock fell to the ground. Pulled her fist back, surprised. She looked at the human, who had moved 3 meters away and stood calmly again. "Lucky," she growled. She attacked again. A series of fast punches and kicks. Each one could kill. Each one hit nothing but air. Ho moved like water. He did not block. He did not run away. He simply was not where her attacks landed. He stepped, ducked, leaned, and shifted. Every movement was small and precise. The crowd began to murmur. What was happening? Why could she not hit him? Jin watched with wide eyes. He studied her, she whispered too. All those recordings, he learned her patterns. It was true. Ho had watched 200 fights. He had seen every attack like to use. He knew how she moved her shoulders before a punch. He knew how she shifted her weight before a kick. He could read her body like a book. But reading was not enough. He also had to be fast enough to react, and he was. Humans might not be as strong as, but they were quick. Their reflexes were sharp. Their bodies could move in many directions. They were built for survival, not raw power. Stopped attacking. She was breathing slightly harder now, not tired but confused. She had never missed so many times in a row. "Stand still and fight," she shouted. "No," Ho said simply. It was the first word he had spoken since the fight began. The crowd heard it through the arena speakers. Some laughed nervously. Others were silent. His purple eyes burned with anger. This human was making her look foolish. She had promised to kill him quickly. Now the crowd was watching him dance around her like she was slow. She roared and charged again. This time, she did not throw single attacks. She swung her arms wide, trying to catch him no matter which way he moved. Ho dropped to the ground, rolled between her legs, and came up behind her. Before she could turn, he was already 5 meters away. The crowd gasped. Commander's hands tightened on his seat. This was not how the fight was supposed to go. The human should be dead by now, or at least injured, but he had not taken a single hit. Turned around slowly. Her face was twisted with rage and confusion. You cannot dodge forever, she said. Sooner or later I will catch you, and when I do, one hit is all I need. Ho nodded. You are right, one hit might be enough to finish me. Then why do you not surrender? Why do you not accept that you cannot win? Ho tilted his head slightly. Who said I cannot win? Screamed in fury and attacked again. She was faster this time, more aggressive. She did not care about technique anymore. She just wanted to destroy this annoying creature. Her fist finally connected. Not fully, just a glancing blow across Ho's ribs as he tried to dodge, but even a glancing blow from Ho was powerful. It sent him flying across the arena. He hit the ground hard and rolled several times before stopping. The crowd cheered, finally blood. Smiled and walked toward him. There, you see, you cannot avoid me forever. Your human body is too weak, too slow. You will die now. Ho pushed himself up slowly. He wiped blood from his lip. His ribs hurt badly, maybe cracked, but he could still breathe, he could still move. He stood up straight and faced her again. Stopped, she had expected him to stay down, to cry in pain, to surrender. But he just stood there, calm as before, blood on his chin, looking at her with those quiet eyes. Is that all? He asked. The crowd went silent. Up in the stands, Jin grabbed his hand. He's mapping her, she said. Every attack, every movement. He's building a complete picture of how she fights. But he's hurt, said. He can take more. Humans can take a lot more than anyone thinks. Down in the arena felt something she had not felt in a very long time. It was small, just a tiny seed, but it was there. Doubt. This human was not like her other opponents. He did not fight like them. He did not think like them. He was doing something she did not understand. What are you? She asked quietly. Ho wiped more blood from his face. His eyes never left hers. I am human, he said, and you have never fought anything like me. He raised his fists and waited for her next attack. The fight was just beginning, attacked again, and again, and again. Each attack was meant to kill. Her fists came like hammers. Her kicks could break walls. She used techniques that had destroyed warriors twice her size. She moved with all the speed and power that had made her a champion. But Ho would not stand still. He moved around the arena like a ghost. When she punched left, he went right. When she kicked high, he went low. When she tried to grab him, he slipped away like smoke. He never moved more than he needed to. Every dodge was small, precise, just enough to survive. The crowd did not know what to feel. They had come to see a quick kill. Instead, they watched the greatest warrior chase a small human around the arena. Some started to boo. Others watched in confused silence. Up in the special seats, Commander was no longer smiling. His purple eyes were narrow and cold. Why is she not finishing him? Asked the officer beside him. Because she cannot catch him, said slowly. He did not like saying those words. They tasted bad in his mouth. Down on the arena floor was starting to breathe harder. She had used more energy in this fight than in her last 10 fights combined. Her muscles burned slightly, a strange feeling. She could not remember the last time she felt tired in battle. She stopped and stared at Ho. He stood 10 meters away, breathing hard too, but still calm, still watching her with those quiet eyes. What is your game? Demanded. You cannot hurt me. You are too weak. All you do is run. Is this your human strategy, to bore me to death? Ho did not answer immediately. He was thinking, calculating. His ribs hurt from her earlier blow. He could feel the bruise spreading under his skin. If she hit him like that again, she might break something important. He could not take many more hits. But that was fine. He did not plan to get hit again. I am not running, he finally said. I am learning. Learning what? You laughed, but there was no humor in it. There is nothing to learn. I am stronger than you, faster than you, tougher than you. That is all that matters. Is it? Ho asked. Then why am I still standing? Snarled and charged at him again. This time something was different. As she attacked, Ho did not just dodge, he moved closer. For one brief moment he was inside her guard, close to her body. His hand shot out and hit her knee joint from the side. It was not a hard hit. Human hands could not hit hard enough to damage bones, but joints were different. Joints were weak points on any body, and Ho knew exactly where to strike. Felt her leg bend wrong for just a second. She stumbled. Her next attack missed completely, and she had to catch herself from falling. The crowd gasped. Regained her balance and looked at her knee. It did not hurt much, but it had hurt. A human had caused her pain. "You," she whispered. In the stands, Jin let out a breath she did not know she was holding. He did it. He found a weakness. "Her joints," said, nodding. "I told him about anatomy. Their bones are strong, but their joints work like ours. Pressure from the right angle can hurt them." He's not trying to overpower her, Jin realized. He's going to take her apart piece by piece. That was exactly what Ho planned to do. Humans had learned long ago that strength was not the only way to win. On Earth, they had hunted animals much bigger and stronger than themselves. They did not do it by being stronger. They did it by being smarter, by working together, by finding weaknesses, by never giving up. Humans were what scientists called persistence predators. They did not win with one big attack. They won by lasting longer than their prey, by slowly wearing them down, by making small wounds that added up over time. Ho was going to hunt the way his ancestors had hunted on the plains of ancient Earth. He moved in again. This time he hit her elbow joint, a quick, precise strike that made her arm go slightly numb for a moment. Her next punch was slower because of it. Roared in frustration, she swung wildly and Ho ducked under her arm. He hit the back of her knee. She stumbled again. The crowd was completely silent now. They were watching something they had never seen before. The Silver Death was being hurt by a human, not badly, not dangerously, but hurt. Commander stood up from his seat. His hands were shaking with rage. "Impossible," he hissed. "This is impossible." But it was happening. Ho kept moving. He hit her shoulder joint, her hip, her ankle. Each hit was small, but each one did something. Her movements got slightly slower. Her attacks got slightly weaker. Her body was not used to taking damage. Had never needed to defend herself. No one had ever been able to hurt her, so she never learned how to protect her weak points. She fought with pure offense, pure power, and now that strategy was failing. "Stop it," she screamed. She grabbed a large rock from the ground and threw it at Ho. He dove out of the way. The rock smashed into the wall and exploded into pieces. She threw another rock, and another. She was losing control, fighting with emotion instead of skill. Ho used this against her. While she was picking up rocks, he moved closer. He hit her wrist joint, making her drop the rock she was holding. She spun to grab him, but he was already gone. "Stand still," screamed. "Fight me properly, stop being a coward." Ho stopped moving. He stood in the center of the arena and faced her directly. "You want to know something?" he said. His voice was calm, but it carried across the whole arena. "For 200 fights you have won because you were stronger, faster, bigger. You never had to think, you never had to adapt, you never had to learn." He pointed at her. "You are not a warrior. You are a beast with muscle, and when you meet something you cannot simply overpower, you do not know what to do." His whole body shook with rage. No one had ever spoken to her like this. No one had ever dared. "I will tear you apart," she said quietly. Her voice was cold now, controlled, more dangerous than when she was screaming. "You can try," Ho said, "but you have been trying for 10 minutes, and I am still here." Up in the human section, Jin felt tears in her eyes. She did not know if they were from fear or pride. "He's winning," she whispered. "I cannot believe it. He might actually be winning." Shook her head. She is still much stronger than him. One good hit could still end this. But he is not giving her that hit. He is making her chase him, making her tired, making her angry. He is breaking her mind as much as her body. Down in the arena took a deep breath. She forced herself to calm down. The human was right. She had been fighting like an animal. She needed to be smarter. She raised her fists and took a proper fighting stance. "Very well, human," she said. "You want a real fight, I will give you one." She moved forward slowly this time. No wild charges, no screaming. She watched him carefully, looking for patterns in his movements. Ho smiled slightly. Finally, a real challenge. They began to circle each other. Two warriors, two styles, two ways of fighting. The crowd leaned forward in their seats. The match was about to change. What none of them knew was that the arena itself was about to change too. In his seat, Commander touched a control panel hidden under his chair. The fight was not going how he wanted. Time to even the odds. A loud horn sounded. The ground beneath the fighters began to shake. Sections of the floor started to rise and fall. The rocky terrain of Zone 1 was shifting, transforming into something new. Zone 2 was activating. And Zone 2 played by different rules. The arena floor split apart. The rocky ground sank down into darkness and metal platforms rose to replace it. They floated in the air, held up by invisible force fields. The platforms were different sizes and at different heights. Some were close together, others were far apart. But the biggest change was the gravity. Zone 2 was a low-gravity environment. Everything became lighter. Movements became floaty and strange. Fighters who were used to normal gravity would struggle here. Immediately felt the difference. Her body felt wrong. She was used to her heavy weight, her solid connection to the ground. Now she felt like she might float away if she moved too fast. Came from a planet with high gravity. Their dense bones and heavy muscles were made for it. In low gravity, they were clumsy. She landed on a metal platform and had to grab the edge to stop herself from drifting off. Ho landed on a platform 5 meters away. He stood straight and steady, perfectly balanced. "Problem?" he asked. Snarled, "This means nothing. The gravity does not change my strength." But it changed everything else. When she tried to jump to his platform, she pushed too hard. She flew too far, too fast, and almost missed the platform completely. She crashed onto it awkwardly and slid across the metal surface. Ho was already on another platform. He moved through the low gravity like he had trained in it his whole life. Because he had. Humans had spent decades learning to fight in space. They trained in zero gravity, low gravity, high gravity. Their ships had rooms that could change gravity whenever they wanted. Human soldiers were taught to fight in any environment. It was one of humanity's greatest secrets. Their bodies might be weaker than other species, but they could adapt to anything. Heat, cold, water, desert, mountains, space. Wherever humans went, they learned to survive. It was written in their blood, in their history. Adaptation was their greatest weapon. Ho jumped from platform to platform, moving fast and smooth. He used the low gravity to make himself faster. He pushed off one platform, flew through the air, and landed exactly where he wanted. Tried to follow. She was getting better, adjusting to the strange feeling, but she was still slower than before. Her powerful attacks had less force without proper footing. Her charges kept going wrong because she could not control her momentum. Ho saw his chance. He moved in close, faster than before. His fist hit her stomach, right where the hard muscles were weakest. It was not a strong punch by standards, but in low gravity with her balance wrong, it was enough. She doubled over slightly, the air pushed from her lungs. Before she could recover, he hit her again. Another joint strike, this time to her shoulder. Then her neck, a pressure point that made her whole arm tingle. Swung at him wildly, but the low gravity made her attack too slow. He ducked under it easily and hit her knee from behind. Her leg buckled, and she fell to one knee on the platform. The crowd could not believe what they were seeing. On her knees, hit by a human. In the human section, Jin was screaming, "Yes, yes, do you see that? Do you all see that?" The humans around her were crying and cheering. For years, they had been told they were weak. For years, they had been mocked and dismissed. Now one of their own was standing over the galaxy's greatest warrior. Was watching carefully. She is not done yet, she is still too strong. Jin did not care. For this moment, this perfect moment, a human was winning. Nothing else mattered. On the platform, looked up at Ho. Her purple eyes were wide with shock. Not pain, not fear, just pure shock. "How?" she whispered. "How are you doing this?" Ho stepped back to give her room. He was breathing hard. The fight was taking everything he had. His ribs screamed with pain. His muscles burned from constant movement, but he did not show it. "Your species evolved on a heavy gravity world," he said. "You became strong because you had to be strong, but you never had to change. You never had to adapt. Your strength solved every problem." He raised his fists again. "Humans evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every day. We faced ice ages, plagues, predators, disasters. We survived because we could change, because we could learn, because we never stopped fighting no matter how bad things got." He looked at her with something almost like respect. "You are strong, stronger than I will ever be, but strength is not enough, not against a human." Slowly stood up. Her body ached in places that had never ached before. Her joints were sore and weak. She had never felt like this after a fight. She had never felt like this at all. And somewhere deep inside her, a new feeling grew. Not doubt anymore, something else. Something she did not have a name for. Interest, curiosity, maybe even a strange kind of respect. This human was different. All her other opponents had tried to match her strength. They had tried to outmuscle her, outpower her. They had all failed, but this one did not even try. He fought a completely different kind of fight, a human kind of fight. "You are clever," she admitted, "more clever than I expected." "Thank you," Ho said. "It will not save you." She attacked again, but smarter this time. She had learned from her mistakes. She moved more carefully in the low gravity. She did not overcommit to her attacks. She watched his movements and tried to predict where he would go. The fight became a chess match. She would attack, he would dodge and counter. He would strike, she would try to catch him. They moved across the floating platforms, two warriors locked in a deadly dance. Ho knew he was running out of time. Every counter-attack used energy. Every dodge made his muscles weaker. Humans could keep going for a long time, but not forever. He needed to end this soon. He saw an opportunity. She was standing near the edge of a platform, preparing for a big attack. If he could push her off balance at the right moment. He moved in, ready to strike, but had expected it. She grabbed his arm. Her fingers closed around his wrist like iron bands. Finally, she had caught him. "Got you," she said. She pulled him toward her with terrifying strength. Her other fist came toward his head. This was it, the killing blow. Ho did not try to escape. He could not. Her grip was too strong. Instead, he did something unexpected. He went with her pull. He let her drag him closer. Her punch passed over his head because he was suddenly too close to hit. And then he was inside her guard, his body pressed against hers, his forehead against her chest. Before she could react, he dropped all his weight down and kicked both her legs out from under her. In normal gravity, it would not have worked. She was too heavy, too strong. But in low gravity, with her balance already wrong, it was enough. They both fell, but Ho twisted in the air, used her body as a springboard, and pushed himself toward another platform. Tumbled off the edge of her platform. She fell down, through the gap between the floating platforms. She grabbed desperately at the air, but there was nothing to hold. She fell all the way down to the bottom of the arena, and at the bottom of Zone 2 was Zone 3. Water hit the surface with a massive splash and sank immediately. Her dense bones and heavy muscles pulled her down like stones. And could not swim. Ho landed on a low platform and looked down at the water. He saw her silver form struggling beneath the surface, arms reaching for the top. The crowd went crazy. Half of them were cheering, the other half were screaming in horror. Commander stood up, his face pale. No, 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 no. In the human section, Jin grabbed his arm. Is she going to drown? What do we do? Shook her head. There's nothing we can do. The arena rules say no outside help. They watched as sank deeper into the dark water. Her movements became slower, more desperate. She was drowning. And Ho watched too. He could let her die. It would be a victory. He would win the match and humanity would be proven strong. No one would blame him. She had tried to kill him first. But that was not who he was. That was not what a human should be. He took a deep breath and dove into the water. The water was cold and dark. Ho swam down into it, his eyes searching for the silver shape below him. Humans were natural swimmers. Their bodies had the right balance of fat and muscle to float. Their arms and legs could push water efficiently. They could hold their breath for minutes if they needed to. Water was not an enemy to humans. It was just another environment to adapt to. He found near the bottom. She had stopped struggling. Her purple eyes were wide with terror. Bubbles streamed from her mouth as the last of her air escaped. She was about to drown. Ho grabbed her arm and pulled. She was incredibly heavy, even in water. Her dense bones made her sink like a rock. He kicked his legs as hard as he could, trying to drag her upward. It was not working. She was too heavy. He could not lift her. He looked around desperately. There, a floating platform was hovering just above the water's surface, if he could get her there. He changed his approach. Instead of trying to lift her straight up, he swam sideways, pulling her along the bottom of the water tank. He found the edge of the tank, where the water met a metal wall. He braced his feet against the wall and pushed. Slowly, painfully, he managed to move her toward the platform. His lungs burned. His muscles screamed, but he did not let go. Finally, they broke the surface. Ho gasped for air and pulled his head above water. She coughed and choked, spitting out water, taking huge, desperate breaths. He dragged her onto the floating platform. They both lay there for a moment, breathing hard, soaking wet. The entire arena was silent. 100,000 spectators stared down at the impossible scene. A human had saved a human had risked his own life to save his enemy. Rolled onto her back and looked up at the lights above. She was alive. She should have drowned, but she was alive, because of him. Slowly she turned her head to look at Ho. He was lying next to her, chest rising and falling, eyes closed. Why? She asked. Her voice was rough from the water she had swallowed. Ho opened his eyes and looked at her. Why what? Why did you save me? You could have won. You could have let me die and claimed victory. No one would have blamed you. She did not understand. It made no sense to her. In culture, victory was everything. You did whatever it took to win. Ho sat up slowly. His ribs hurt so badly now that he could barely breathe, but he looked at her with clear eyes. Victory without honor is not victory, he said. It is just killing. Honor laughed weakly. What does honor matter? Only winning matters. Maybe not for humans. He looked up at the crowd, at the thousands of alien faces staring down at them. We did not become a strong species by defeating enemies. We became strong by turning enemies into friends, by showing mercy when we could show cruelty, by helping others even when it was easier to let them die. He looked back at her. If I let you drown, what message does that send? That humans will kill anyone who challenges them, that we are just as brutal as everyone thinks. He shook his head. I want them to see something different. I want them to see that humans can win without losing their souls. Stared at him for a long moment. In 200 fights, no opponent had ever shown her mercy. No opponent had ever had the chance. She had crushed them all without hesitation. That was the way. The strong survive. The weak die. Simple. But this human was challenging everything she believed. "You are strange," she finally said. "I know. I do not understand you at all. I know that too." Slowly pushed herself up to a sitting position, she looked at her own hands, strong hands, hands that had killed so many, hands that had almost killed this human. And he had saved her anyway. Something shifted inside her. Some wall that she had built around her heart cracked just a little. "The fight is not over," she said quietly. "No," Ho agreed, "it is not. I could attack you now. You are tired, hurt. I could probably kill you." "You could try." She looked at him again. He was not afraid. Even now, soaking wet and injured, he faced her without fear. He was ready to keep fighting if she attacked. What kind of creature was this? Up in his special seat, Commander was furious. His plan was falling apart. Should have won easily. The human should have been a broken body on the arena floor. Instead, the human had made look weak. And then he had saved her life in front of everyone. The crowd was whispering now. They had come to see humans mocked and destroyed. Instead, they had seen a human show strength and mercy. That was not the story wanted told. He pressed another button on his hidden control panel. The arena rumbled. The floating platforms began to shake. The water started to drain away through openings in the floor. "Attention," the announcer's voice boomed. "Zone 3 is ending. Zone 4 is activating. All fighters should prepare for extreme heat conditions." The platforms lowered as the water disappeared. The metal walls around the arena began to glow red. Heat poured into the space. The temperature was rising fast. Zone 4 was a volcanic environment. Lava would flow across the floor. The air would become almost too hot to breathe. It was designed to test fighters to their absolute limits. Smiled coldly. "Let us see how the human handles this." On the lowering platform, Ho felt the heat hit him like a wall. His wet clothes began to steam. Sweat immediately formed on his skin. "He is trying to kill you," said, looking up at the special seats where sat. This zone change was not scheduled. He activated it manually. "I know." Ho stood up slowly, ignoring the pain in his body. "Are you going to help him?" Stood up too. She faced him again, her silver skin already dry from the heat. "I am a warrior," she said. "I finish my own fights. I do not need to do it for me." "Then fight me properly, one warrior to another." Looked at him. This small, weak human who had dodged her attacks, hurt her joints, dropped her in water, saved her life, and now stood ready to fight in a volcanic arena with cracked ribs and exhausted muscles. He should have been dead long ago, but he was still standing, still fighting, still refusing to give up. "You humans," she said slowly, "what are you really?" Ho smiled slightly despite the pain. "We are survivors. It is what we do." The platform touched down on the new arena floor. The ground was black rock cracked with glowing red lines. In the distance, lava bubbled and flowed. The heat was incredible. The final stage of the fight was about to begin. The heat was brutal. The air burned with every breath. Rivers of lava flowed through cracks in the black rock floor, casting everything in an orange glow. The temperature was high enough to kill most species in minutes. Felt comfortable. Were heat resistant. There had large volcanic regions, and their bodies had evolved to handle extreme temperatures. This was supposed to give her an advantage. But when she looked at Ho, she saw something that confused her again. He was still standing, still fighting, still moving. Sweat poured from his skin in rivers. His face was red from the heat, but he was not collapsing. He was not dying. He was adapting. Humans had a secret weapon that most aliens did not know about. They could sweat. It seemed like a small thing, but it was incredibly powerful. When humans sweated, the water on their skin evaporated and cooled their bodies. They could survive heat that would kill other species. On ancient Earth, humans had hunted animals by chasing them under the hot sun. The animals would run fast at first, but then they would overheat and collapse. Humans would just keep walking, following the trail, never stopping. Eventually, the animal would be too tired and too hot to run anymore. Humans were not the fastest species. They were not the strongest, but they could keep going longer than almost anything else. They were endurance hunters, survivors. They simply did not give up. Ho moved through the volcanic terrain, stepping carefully around lava streams. His body was suffering. His ribs were definitely cracked now. His muscles were exhausted. The heat was draining him with every second. But he kept moving. He kept fighting. Followed him. She attacked again and again, but her movements were slower than before. The fight had taken more out of her than she expected. She had used too much energy in the early attacks, chasing him around the arena. Now that energy was gone, and she could not get it back. Ho saw it. He saw the slight hesitation in her attacks. He saw the heaviness in her arms. He saw the tiredness in her purple eyes. Time to end this. He stopped running. He stopped dodging. He turned and faced her directly. Stop too, surprised. Finally, you will face me properly. Yes, Ho raised his fists. No more running, no more tricks, let us finish this. She smiled grimly. You will regret this, human. Even tired, I am stronger than you. I know. They came together in the middle of the volcanic arena, threw a powerful punch. Ho did not dodge. He deflected it slightly with his arm, changing its direction, and stepped inside her reach. His fist hit her throat, a precise strike to her windpipe. Choked and staggered back. He had never hit her there before. It hurt. It made breathing hard. Before she could recover, he attacked again. He moved around her like water, hitting joint after joint, nerve point after nerve point. He targeted all the spots he had learned about in 3 days of study, every weak point on the body. She tried to hit him, but he was too close, too fast. Her powerful arms could not reach him at this distance. He was inside her guard, and he was destroying her from within. A strike to her knee made her leg give out. A strike to her elbow made her arm go numb. A strike to her ribs drove the air from her lungs. A strike to the side of her neck made her vision go blurry for a moment. The crowd watched in stunned silence. The Silver Death, the undefeated champion, was being taken apart by a human. Commander was standing now, his hands gripping the railing of his seat. Get up, he screamed. Kill him, kill the human. But could not hear him. Her ears were ringing from a strike to the side of her head. She fell to one knee, then the other. She tried to raise her arms to defend herself, but they would not obey her commands. Ho stepped back. He was breathing so hard he could barely stand. His vision was dark at the edges. His body was begging him to collapse, but he stayed standing. Looked up at him. The great champion, brought to her knees by a creature half her size. How, she whispered, how did you do this? Ho had to take several breaths before he could answer. I told you, you have never faced anything like a human. You relied on strength, but strength alone is not enough. Not against someone who can think, learn, and adapt. I cannot lose, his voice cracked. I have never lost. Everything loses eventually. What matters is how you lose. He looked down at her, and in his eyes she saw something unexpected. Not triumph, not cruelty, not the satisfaction of victory over an enemy. She saw respect. You are a great warrior, the greatest I have ever faced. No other fight has pushed me this hard. He extended his hand to her. But this fight is over. Surrender. There is no shame in losing to someone who gave everything they had. Stared at his hand. Such a small hand, soft skin, fragile bones. This hand could not crush stone or bend metal. It could not do a fraction of what her hands could do. But this hand had beaten her. Up in the stands, the crowd waited. Some were calling for blood. Some were silent. The humans were holding their breath. Jin grabbed hand so tight it hurt. Take it, she whispered. Please take it. Commander was shouting something, but his voice was lost in the noise of the crowd. Looked at Ho's face, his calm, steady eyes, his quiet strength. He had every reason to kill her, to take revenge for all the insults and mockery, to prove human dominance over, but he was offering peace instead. "Why?" she asked again. "Why do you not kill me?" "Because death is not victory, it is just death. I did not come here to kill you. I came here to prove that humans deserve respect. I think I have done that." He kept his hand extended. "And because I hope that after this fight we can be something other than enemies." She thought about his words. She thought about everything that had happened in this arena. She thought about 200 victories that suddenly felt empty compared to this one defeat. Slowly, painfully, she reached up and took his hand. A wave of shock passed through the crowd. The champion had surrendered. The human had won. And he had won without killing. Ho helped to her feet. They stood together in the volcanic heat, two warriors who had given everything to this fight. "I surrender," said loudly so everyone could hear. "The human, Ho, is the victor." The human section of the crowd exploded, cheering, crying, screaming. Thousands of humans celebrating the greatest victory their species had ever won. In other sections, aliens were talking rapidly to each other. This was not possible. A human defeating the champion. It would change everything. The whole galaxy would hear about this. Commander sat down slowly, his face pale. His plan had failed completely. Not only had the human won, but he had won with honor and mercy. Humanity did not look weak. They looked strong, stronger than anyone had ever imagined. On the arena floor, Ho finally let himself feel the pain. He swayed on his feet. His vision was going dark. Caught him before he could fall. "Easy, human," she said. "The fight is over. You can rest now." Ho looked up at her and smiled weakly. "Did I do okay?" Despite everything, laughed. A real laugh without cruelty or mockery. "You did more than okay. You showed me something I did not think possible." "What?" "That there are kinds of strength I never understood." She helped him walk toward the arena exit. "Your species is more dangerous than I ever imagined, not because you can fight, but because you can win without becoming monsters." Ho leaned on her for support, a human and a walking together out of the arena of fire. The galaxy would never see either of them the same way again. The medical bay was quiet and cool, a welcome relief from the burning heat of the arena. Ho lay on a bed while other doctors worked on his injuries. 3 cracked ribs, multiple bruises, strained muscles throughout his body, minor burns from the volcanic zone. "You should be dead," said as she wrapped his chest. "By all medical logic, you should not have survived that fight." Ho smiled weakly. "Humans are stubborn." Jin stood nearby, her eyes red from crying. She had cried when Ho won. She had cried when he almost collapsed. She was still crying now, though she tried to hide it. "You did it," she said. "You actually did it. The whole galaxy saw. A human beat the champion." "We did it," Ho corrected. "You gave me the information I needed, taught me about anatomy. I just used what you both provided." "Do not be modest. You were the one in that arena. You were the one who faced her." The door to the medical bay opened. Everyone turned to look, expecting another doctor. It was. The guards moved to stop her, but she raised her hands peacefully. "I come in peace. I wish to speak with the human." Ho nodded to the guards, let her through. Walked to his bed and stood there awkwardly. She looked different now, smaller somehow, not physically but in her presence. The arrogance was gone from her eyes. "I wanted to thank you," she said quietly, "for saving my life, for showing me mercy. I did not deserve either." "Everyone deserves a second chance," Ho said. Was silent for a moment. Then she asked, "What makes your species like this? I have studied many species in the galaxy. I have fought warriors from 100 different worlds. None of them are like humans." Ho thought about the question. "I think it is because of how we evolved. On Earth, we were not the strongest animals. We were not the fastest. We had no claws or fangs or armor. But we had 2 things that kept us alive." "What things?" Our minds and each other. We survived by thinking our way through problems, and we survived by working together. A single human is weak, but humans together supporting each other, protecting each other. We can do anything. He looked at her seriously. We learned long ago that cruelty makes enemies, but kindness can make friends, and friends are more valuable than victories. Considered this. It was so different from philosophy, that believed in individual strength. The strong stood alone. They needed no one. Weakness was shameful. But maybe that thinking was wrong. Maybe there were other kinds of strength. I must return to my empire, said. Commander is furious. There will be consequences for my defeat. Will you be safe? She smiled slightly. I am still the best warrior in the empire, cannot touch me directly, but things will change. She paused. I will make them change. What you showed me today, I cannot unsee it. I will speak to my people. I will tell them what I learned. What did you learn? That being strong is not the same as being powerful. That victory without honor is hollow. That mercy is not weakness. She bowed her head slightly. And that humans are not the primitives we thought you were. You may be the most dangerous species in the galaxy, not because you can destroy, but because you can build. You can connect. You can turn enemies into friends. She straightened up. I was wrong about your kind. I think my whole empire was wrong. It will take time to change minds, but I will try. Ho reached out his hand, not as a challenge this time, as a gesture of peace. Looked at his hand, such a simple gesture. On her world, warriors did not shake hands. They showed respect through combat. But she was learning new ways. She took his hand gently. Her massive silver fingers wrapped around his small human hand. May we meet again, Ho, under better circumstances. I would like that. She released his hand and walked out of the medical bay. At the door, she paused and looked back. You know, for a small, weak primitive, you are not so bad. Ho laughed, then winced as his ribs protested. Coming from you, I will take that as a compliment. She smiled and left. 3 days later, a ceremony was held on Orbital Station Nexus 7. Representatives from across the Galactic Coalition gathered to witness humanity's formal recognition as a full member species. For years, humans had been treated as second-class members, junior partners, barely tolerated newcomers, but the fight in the arena had changed everything. News of the battle had spread across the galaxy at light speed. Everyone had seen the recordings. A human defeating the champion. A human showing strength, adaptability, and mercy. The story was told in 1,000 languages on 1,000 worlds. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know more about humans. What kind of species were they? Where did they come from? How did they think? What else could they do? At the ceremony, Ho stood with his chest wrapped in bandages, wearing his military uniform. Beside him stood Jin, and behind them stood hundreds of humans from the station and ships that had come to witness this moment. The coalition speaker, a tall being with golden skin and many eyes, addressed the crowd. Humanity has proven themselves worthy of full respect in this coalition. They have shown us that strength comes in many forms. Physical power is only one kind of strength. The strength of mind, the strength of will, the strength of character. These are equally important. The speaker turned to Ho. Ho, you have changed how the galaxy sees your species. Do you have any words? Ho stepped forward slowly. Every species in the Great Hall watched him. I did not fight in that arena for glory, he said. His voice was calm and clear. I did not fight to prove that humans are better than other species. I fought because someone had to show the truth. He looked around at all the alien faces. Humans are not the strongest. We are not the fastest. We do not have the best technology or the longest history, but we have something that has kept us alive for millions of years. He put his hand on his chest. We never give up. When things are hard, we push harder. When we face impossible odds, we find a way. When everything says we should fail, we succeed anyway. That is what makes us human." He lowered his hand. "I hope that my fight showed something else too. Humans do not want to conquer the galaxy. We do not want to dominate other species. We want to work together, to learn from each other, to build something better than any of us could build alone." He looked directly at the cameras that were broadcasting his words across the galaxy. "To every species watching this, we are here. We are part of this coalition, and we are ready to be your friends, your partners, your allies. Give us a chance and we will show you what humans can really do." The hall was silent for a moment. Then applause began. It spread through the crowd like a wave, humans and aliens together clapping and cheering. Later that night, Commander sat alone in his quarters on a ship heading home. He had failed completely. His plan to embarrass humanity had backfired. Instead of looking weak, humans now looked strong, stronger than anyone had imagined. He watched the recording of the fight again. He watched Ho dodge, adapt, learn. He watched him take hits that should have killed him and keep fighting. He watched him save when he could have let her die. He watched him show mercy when he could have shown cruelty. "They adapt," whispered to himself. "They endure. They show mercy even when they do not have to." He closed the recording and stared at the wall. His hands were shaking. "What kind of species are they?" He did not have an answer. He was not sure he wanted one. On orbital station Nexus 7, Ho stood at a window, looking out at the stars. Jin came to stand beside him. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Tired, sore, but good," he smiled. "Today was a good day." "You changed things. You know that, right? The galaxy will never look at humans the same way." "That was the point." They stood in silence for a while, watching the stars. "What will you do now?" Jin asked. Ho thought about it. "Keep going, keep showing them who we are, one day at a time, one fight at a time, until the whole galaxy understands." "Understands what?" He looked at her with quiet determination in his eyes. "That humanity is just getting started." Outside the window, the stars stretched on forever. 1 billion worlds, 1 trillion possibilities, and somewhere out there, species were watching, learning, and beginning to understand. Humans were not weak. Humans were not primitive. Humans were something new, something different, something the galaxy had never seen before. And the galaxy would never forget the day they learned the truth.